Tremonton. This is it. We have had.
Is this Riverview Ward?
No, this is Tremonton.
Okay.
There's normal people out there too. So, we have a question from the city. Sean Warnke, Laurel Vance, Dinah Dutry, Jeffries, Roger Frida, Lal Hongman, Brett Rhodey, Lindsay Nesson, Paul Fulgham, Todd Hunsaker, Charlie Euler. Have I got everybody?
Kim.
Yeah.
Kim Griffin. Kim, we appreciate you being here. We've had no one has requested to be on the agenda or the program tonight, so I have asked Lyle Holmgren to offer a prayer, after which Brett will lead us in the pledge, and we will be praying. If anyone's uncomfortable with the prayer, you may step out of the hall and join us in a moment. Otherwise, Lyle.
Our Father in heaven, as we come before thee at this time, we're thankful for the many blessings which we have. We're grateful for the opportunity of being together this evening in City Council meeting. We ask thy Spirit to be with us and to guide us and help us as we go through this meeting, that we might be able to do so in a civil and a pleasing manner unto thee, that we might be able to discuss those things that are important to the city and important to our citizens. We are grateful for those who serve, for our police department, for fire department, for those who put their lives on the line for our benefit. We ask that thou please bless us and help us through this coming week and through the future, and help us to be a better city and a better group of people. And this we say in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please repeat the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, do we have any conflicts of interest that we need to declare for this evening? Approval of the agenda. Any questions on the agenda for tonight?
I move we approve the agenda for this evening.
Motion made by Diana.
I'll second it.
Second by Brett. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Move approval of the minutes, August 20th, 2019. Any questions on the minutes?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Lyle Vance, seconded by Lyle H. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comment time. This is a time for the public to address City Council if you feel so inclined. Come up and introduce yourself, and your comments are limited to 3 minutes.
Good evening, my name is Jeff Houghton. I'm a resident here in Tremonton, living at 900 West. And first I wanted to compliment you all and the Director of Public Works for the meetings that you had this past week. My wife and I were at the first ones that were held and the one there, and they were both incredibly informative. But observing some of the issues that are arising within the public, I had 2 recommendations to offer for the city to consider. One I mentioned at that meeting, and that is with some of the people concerned about the potential cost that would be imposed upon the public for this system, and some people claiming that it could be hundreds of dollars in increase. I had recommended, and I recommend again, that in the newspaper or through a flyer that goes out, that you give some examples. Okay, if you're using 40,000 gallons for watering your lawn for secondary usage, here's what it costs now, and here's what it would cost under the new system. And hopefully that will alleviate some of the concerns. I'm a number cruncher, and I run some numbers, and the numbers don't scare me. But I'm hoping I did it correctly after hearing some of the other concerns from people. So that was number 1 recommendation. Number 2, my wife and I are trying to learn in advance, since we've never dealt with a secondary water system before, what's available to us for filters. After seeing some of the examples that were at the meetings that were held, we've gone ahead ahead and we visited all the hardware stores in town, the IFA store, and talked to others, Coles Nursery and some others. And number one, most of them have no stock for filters whatsoever. And today at one of them, they said, gee, nobody's brought this issue up. And so come springtime for Zone 3, where we live, could be a flood of people trying to find product and it's not there to be had. Two of the hardware stores each had one filter to choose from, one model to choose from. It was the same model, but no other choices. So if you wanted to try and get something more advanced, maybe self-cleaning, something else, because cleaning was one of the issues I've heard about, not available. And so I would encourage the city to be talking to merchants and others and hopefully have a supply readily available. And, or at least give us information, and I know you can't promote a select business, but give us information of where we're to find these things. I'm hoping to get better than just a basic model, and so when we travel, we don't have to worry about it plugging up and having issues there. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Good comment, thank you.
Anyone else?
It's just open to anybody to
Yeah.
comment about anything.
Yes.
Not anything.
Well, you can do anything.
We can hardly wait.
Okay.
Yeah, we're excited.
My name is Jerry Ann Stevenson, and I live on 12,000 North, where they are considering rezoning that area. And we, as neighbors, have some concerns about the rezoning of that area. They want to rezone it as an industrial. Mainly, the road is a county road. The city actually goes back, I don't know how many feet, but actually behind my house, the city doesn't start till then. Also, the putting in blacktop, because a lot of the people there are on wells. And, you know, bringing in that kind of industry to that area, besides who will police it. And just there's a lot of concerns that we have as neighbors as rezoning that. We are asking that you don't do that for that reason, because we'd like to keep it a rural residential area where we can live and not bring all of that industry in. And I know there's some other comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Richard Barber. I live on 12,000, across the street from where the proposed storage facilities are gonna go. So about 6.5, 7 years ago, our daughter, that's my wife Isabel over there. Our daughter came and said she was gonna move up this way. And we knew about Tremonton, but that was about it. We just knew where it was. So anyways, we helped her pick a place and got moved in, and that took several months, and in that process, we fell in love with this area. We lived in West Haven at the time. So we decided right away, this is where we want to retire. And we sold our place and we moved up this way. So we got that piece on 12,000, had our home built, and we love it there. When I sit on my front porch, I have a cornfield across the street. And I got alfalfa fields behind me. And best of all, I got great neighbors. It's such a nice community. It's peaceful, very quiet. I don't mind listening to tractors and combines and all that going down the road. What I don't want to hear is semi-trucks delivering steel to some manufacturing place because it's going to be industrial, you know. I don't want to hear any of that. That's not why I moved to Tremonton. You know, if that's the type of area that I didn't mind, I'd live west of the high school, okay? So our neighborhood is real nice. It's real quiet. I'd like it to stay that way. I certainly don't want to see a storage facility across the street because who knows what that's going to bring in. You know, there's no regulation on what gets stored in those areas, in those facilities. And, you know, anything's open. You know, use your imagination, it'll be inside one of those storage units. So I don't want that. I don't want an industrial building behind my house or down the street. I don't want the traffic. I want peace and quiet. That's why we moved here. That's pretty much all I got. If there's any type of vote in all this, I vote no for rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. While we're on the rezoning, I just did a summary for all of you.
What's your name?
My name's Mary Lamont. And so I just
Oh.
did a summary, a copy for
Okay.
each one of you, just for your information, a summary of what was discussed at the public hearing recently. Currently printed blank. And it just is going over the couple of points, and so you guys are welcome, without this becoming another public hearing, you're welcome to just take a look at what we as the neighborhood and some of the property owners, why we were opposed to it. There were over 40 of us there, you'll see from the planning notes, so appreciate your time. And I'd be happy to re-summarize it, but you can all just take a look. Those are my words, so thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Michael Yates, and I'm also on 12,000 North. And I just wanted to, you probably know what the arguments are, but I just wanted to bring out that at the Planning and Zoning Committee, we filled this room up, and very few of us got any notification that it was even being considered. So within, 2 hours, the entire community showed up in opposition to it. And we're not against someone building next to us and like-minded people coming in and enjoying our rural community and our quiet living and our farming community. We're not opposed to that. We're just opposed to the rezoning and making it industrial. That would change all of our ways of life and why we moved there to begin with, why we build our homes there, why we raise our families there. So I think as, speaking for the entire community out there, we're asking you to disapprove that. Thank you.
Ricky Hansen. My son and I farm about 1,000 acres in this valley. We go clear from Thatcher to Deweyville. And the biggest problem that we have for drain water is within Tremonton area. There's no place for the water to drain over our way. There's no borrow pits, no nothing. The 4800 West Road, the county raised the road 3 feet. I actually buried a fence in front of the old Joe Firth house. The fence lines down there got buried with rocks, and so, like I say, there is no borrow pits for the water to drain. So if we go put a big storage unit and go industrial, where's all the water gonna drain? That we have asphalt and roofs. The solution is, I've seen like by the crossroads where they dig a big hole for the water to drain to. Now it's a crap and weed patch that we gotta fight. So there's all sorts of things that we gotta think about here. That property is right next to a highline ditch that's probably 4 or 5 feet up above the ground and everything. So the water ain't gonna drain that way. And I know from previous, a couple of years ago, we had all that flood and all the water drained toward that field, flooded, then it drained over in Fred's field, flooded him out. So there's a lot of considerations there, we gotta think about what Mother Nature does to us at times, and have we got an infrastructure to support this? We don't. So.
Was that one of those fields that was underwater?
Yeah, we was all underwater out
All
there.
that over there.
Everything was underwater. What field drains we got, the water was boiling up out of the field drains, and it almost crossed the road coming from the crossroads there, the main road, and the county got big pumps, and they pumped water into our ditches so we could, stop a lot of the flooding there. So there's a lot of stuff like that. So I hope you as a council do like the planning commission thought, well, this isn't a good idea at this time. So thanks for your time.
Anyone else?
Ditto.
Come up and say it at the mic. comment time is over. Thank you for commenting. Public hearing. Do we need a motion to go into public hearing? We have a public hearing opening concerning the proposed annexation of real property owned by Stanley G. Summers and Kelly C. Summers. Tax ID number 05-074-0044, being 2.92 acres in size. Additionally, the zoning of said and surrounding parcels to general commercial CG will also be considered at the public hearing. Sean, do you have anything for it?
No, this would just annex property around the crossroads, and this would complete that process by essentially approving an ordinance and then a resolution. So unless there's any specific questions, that's generally it.
Any questions? Okay, public hearing is now closed. Discussion and consideration of approving the July warrant register. Council?
I'll make a motion that we approve the July warrant register.
Second.
Motion made by Lyle H., second by Jeff. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion and consideration of approving the July monthly financial statements.
I'll make that motion to approve the July monthly financial statement.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Jeff, second by Diana. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion and consideration of a submitted application to rezone zoning code amendment for Shannon Butler's property located at 4985 West, 12,000 North. Parcel amendment for Shannon Butler's property. I just read that. Holy heck. Sorry. Number 05-039-0113. The proposed use of the property for rezoning would be self-storage units.
I'll make a motion, we deny that request.
And I'll second it.
And can I make a comment?
Please,
Just,
John.
just for we've got a lot of people here, and this wasn't one of those things that was, lightly decided. We had a work session before this where we discussed this to some extent. So I just wanted you to know that this isn't something we just willy-nilly decided on. It's something we've given a lot of thought to.
But we do agree.
Who made the
Maybe.
mo-
We don't know yet. We don't, you know if we
Right.
can
Second.
Well, they will.
Motion made by Jeff, seconded by Lyle Vance. Roll call. Brett?
It's not an ordinance, is it?
No.
Oh,
So-
it isn't?
No, so it's just a,
Okay,
Just a vote.
yeah.
all right, sounds good. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Discussion and consideration of the appointment of a library board member. Kim?
Okay, in our July board meeting, Megan Wheatley's name was introduced as a person to fill our empty seat on our board. The board had agreed to send that to the city council for approval.
Any questions, council?
Kind of Diane's deal.
I move we approve Megan Wheatley for library board.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Diana, seconded by Lyle H. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There you go, Kim.
Thank you.
If you guys want to stay, you can, but if you really don't want to stay.
Yeah, we're not gonna hold you hostage.
It's up to you.
Can I say one thing? Yeah, we don't.
Hold on. No.
Thank you. Yeah, we really appreciate your support.
Okay.
Hate to leave you on the wall.
No, you don't. You're making that part up.
How much longer till donuts?
Discussion and consideration of the appointment of a planning commission member. Brett?
So Val Bennett has asked to step down, And so I propose that we have Paul Fowler fill his seat.
I don't know the guy.
I think Paul will be a great asset.
I was thinking about each one of you up there.
Anyway, Paul's got a lot of knowledge. I think he'll be a great asset to the Planning Commission, so I'd like to propose that he be added to that board.
We have a proposal by Brett,
I'll second it.
second by Lyle Lance. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You got a new job, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Second and fourth Tuesdays at 5:30.
Here?
Right here.
Write your email address down on the roll if you would, wherever it got to. I've got it right here. And then they'll start emailing you the agenda.
Discussion and consideration of adopting ordinance number 19-08, annexing real property, specifically a portion of certain real property being 2.92 acres of that 5.84 acres of property that comprises tax parcel number 05-074-0044, located at approximately 100 South and 1600 East State Road 13 under the provisions of section 10-2-403 and 10-2-405, Utah Code annotated 1953 as amended into Tremonton, Utah, and zoning said and surrounding parcels as general commercial. Any questions on this, council?
Again, I think, we've spent a fair amount of time discussing this, and so I'd like to make a motion, we adopt ordinance number 19-08 and annex this property into the city as general commercial.
Okay, motion made by Lyle H.
Second?
Second by Jeffrey. A roll call.
Brett, aye.
Lyle H. aye.
Jeff, I.
Diana, aye.
Lyle Vance, aye.
Thank you. Discussion and consideration of adopting resolution 19-43, amending Tremont City's Articles of Incorporation to include specifically a portion of parcel number 05-074-0044 into Tremont, Utah. Questions on this, council?
I'll make a motion, we adopt this resolution number 19-43 and amend our articles of incorporation to include this property.
Motion made by Lyle H.
I'll second it.
Second by Diana. Roll call again.
Brett, aye.
Lyle H. aye.
Jeff, I.
Diana, aye.
Lyle Vance, aye.
Thank you. Discussion and consideration of adopting resolution or ordinance number 19-09, section 3-914, Tremont City Police Department employees to Title III City Government. Chapter 3, 900 appointed officials and their duties for the revised ordinances of Tremont City. Any questions on ordinance number 19-09?
Is this the one to do with the ages?
Yes.
I'm really against the upper age. I think it ought to be a limit of physical ability, not age ability. And so I'm all for, if you had some kind of a physical test or something that they had to go through and pass, like you have to pull so much weight, you have to get across the walk in a certain amount of time, that would allow for people that are 80 or plus years that are healthy to still be able to do something like that if they wanted. So I'm not for I'm for the 21, but I'm not for the 70 years old. So
You gonna table it then for?
I would like to table it with that recommendation that we look into some kind of a physical test that they need to be able to pass. Yeah.
Okay,
in order to do
talking about the whole.
For the crossing guards is all.
Just the crossing.
Just crossing guards is all.
Crossing guard.
Can we do that
Okay.
to that point,
When we talked about, Dustin and I mean, you can certainly do whatever you would like, and you can table it. We did sort of explore that avenue, and I can't remember why in the end we felt like, even though it is a little, there's gonna be some above that curve that can still probably perform the job. We felt, that was best just to.
It sounds discriminatory. I mean, that's an age discrimination.
Yeah, but, I I know what you're saying.
Mhm.
As it relates to public safety, it's allowed, and we could have Dustin come. He's the one who did all the research, but for example, right now, like the FBI, limits public safety positions. You can't even apply if you're over the age of 38, for the FBI. There's certain public safety where there's exemptions. It's according to Dustin's research and what Dustin's counsel is, it's clear that they do set limits. We do have limits, as you mentioned, with our firefighters. As it relates to crossing guards, frankly, I mean, it's extremely important. These are people who are crossing, children, and they're there to safeguard them and watch them. For that reason, we have drug testing. But if you'd like to table it, we can certainly talk about it and spend more time. It can come, either Dustin can come and share with you what his research.
The people that we have on the crossing guards that we have right now, do they fall under this? Would there be somebody that would be told they couldn't do it anymore if we passed it?
No. No.
Nobody would fall
under
under that,
or even close to it.
or even close to it.
Yeah, we want anybody close to that age.
I don't know.
I tend to
kind of
think
wonder
like,
if we're, if we've got our attorney recommending that we go a certain way, that
I tend to think like Brett does, though. He's talking about a test, and I understand this is for public safety and that type of stuff. But if there was a job description and they had to meet certain standards to be able to function, and when they couldn't do it, then that would be the reason to let them go. I think we ought to drop. I think that if they can do the job, if they are of legal age, they ought to be able to do whatever if they can do the job, why not,
Well, it's hard either way, to tell someone, you can't do it because you can't meet the agility test, you can't walk fast enough. I mean, there's never a good way to tell someone. We just kind of felt like it was better to set names with it. But this is purely, if you feel otherwise, you could just essentially vote it down or do whatever you would like.
I think it's kind of like driving, people that are older drive, but maybe somebody that's 55 that has problems, mental problems or something that, or physical, either one that can't do it, then they shouldn't. But somebody who can ought to be able to.
So how do we come up with a standard of saying you have to walk across the street in 1.2 minutes?
Or something.
I don't know how to do that.
It's easy. It's like when you're driving a bus, you have to be able to pull so much weight. You have to be able to pick up so much weight and carry it to a certain point. You have to do it within a certain time limit. You don't, you're not hired, you're done.
Okay.
And so it's really not hard to come up with a very objective system that says you're physically capable of doing this or you're not. And so then your age doesn't matter.
Well, come up with a motion.
Should we table it and rewrite it?
I'd like to hear Dustin's
Arguments?
thoughts on this too a little bit.
And Dustin wasn't, by the way, Dustin just did the research on it. It was just something that, was a concern. We do have as I mentioned, firefighters have a standard in there for age. We felt like it was within the public's best interest, and so that's the reason why it was proposed. So Dustin wasn't advocating one way or the other. He just did the research. So, you can feel comfortable in knowing that if you choose to adopt the ordinance, that legally you can, according to Dustin's research. But if you're not comfortable with that, you can certainly do any variation. I mean, I shouldn't say any, but I think you're on the right track about either not having an age limit or trying to do some testing. It just becomes. We just kind of felt like the city staff did, or in discussion, we felt like the age was just a cleaner, simpler approach. But
Well, and that probably would be like if something went to court, an age cutoff would be cleaner and simpler than saying, you know, we timed them and we thought that they were okay, you know, something like that, but.
I mean, there's liability, frankly, each way. I mean, you sometimes have this, I'm trying to remember the term, but essentially you have liability for negative retention or for retaining someone who probably shouldn't be doing the job. And that could be just as, if not, you know,
I think
more
that could all
liability.
be, I think all this could be done in an interview process without
Mhm.
even an agility test or anything. You can
Mhm.
tell by just visiting with the person, you know, and see.
Yeah, and that, you know, maybe we should have I think that's where you can sort of get into age discrimination. If you don't have a clear standard and you go through an interview process, you just sort of think they can't do the job. If you have the standard, an age standard, then it's clear, it's applicable to everyone. If you have an agility test or a test, physical test, then you can sort of uphold it that way, but it's probably best not have a standard and just sort of surmise it in the interview process.
Says young kid to a bunch of old people, huh?
But isn't that what you're doing right now?
What's that?
We're interviewing people for these crossing guards and some of them don't get it.
Well, I mean, just because there's more people applying to that position, so they just pick the best candidate. How they determine the candidate.
I rest my case.
Yeah, so.
We hired every one of them that interviewed this time.
What's that?
We hired every one of them that interviewed this time. Everyone that applied.
And they probably all fell in that spectrum.
Yes, they did. That's all that applied.
I agree with the age thing on police department and all that. I think that's,
Well, you can just simply make the
but I
ordinance
think,
that, you know?
yeah,
that's how
I
you
think
feel.
just,
Do that.
I would just table it on the crossing guards. That's the only one I have an issue with.
Well,
Can we approve it except for the crossing guard? Let's do that.
Yeah.
make a motion.
Go ahead, Brett, you started.
Well, then I make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 1909 and exclude the upper age limit on the crossing guards dependent upon physical assessment.
Motion made by Brett.
Do you actually want to do, oh, pardon me.
Oh, Sean?
Some kind of,
You want to, what about if you just left it silent and then we might come back with something? Is that okay?
Okay, that's
If we-
fine.
If we felt strong enough?
yep.
I like that, I'll second that.
Okay, motion second, roll call. Yeah, roll call.
Brett, aye.
Where are we at? What did we just?
Paying attention?
Yeah, but then it got changed.
So just to summarize the motion, is that okay, Brett, if I do my best? So we're going to take the crossing guard off. They'll have a minimum age requirement of 21, if I understand correctly, but the upper bounds would be eliminated. And, you know, city staff may choose to come back at some point and
Oh,
decide
okay.
if we want
All
to
right.
do some
You get
physical
it.
tests.
Flyweight job.
Or we could even just probably do that administratively as part
Yeah.
of the job description and testing.
Jeff, aye.
Diana, aye.
Lyle, nay.
Oh, did you do it long?
Motion.
Okay. I must have
Motion
been second.
passes. All right, got that one done. Discussion and consideration of approving ordinance 19-10, amending the Tremont City, amending the Tremont City zoning for parcel number 060-060-0016 that totals 13.78 acres, more or less, located approximately 1450 west, 1000 north, and west of the post-cereal plant from manufacturing distribution business park to manufacturing general zone. Questions on that, council?
This isn't a question, this is an observation. You know, where Dr. Kerr and all those guys live along that edge, and the Scott boy that just built all of his stuff here, he was here saying he didn't want all that out there by his home, but that's exactly, he's across the street from all those homes that are gonna go in. Just an observation.
Travis Scott?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't Travis.
think Travis is here.
No,
What's that one?
I forgot his name, but he doesn't work for him.
Oh.
He's a brother.
Oh, he doesn't work for him?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, I didn't know
Tyler
that.
Scott? No.
Tyler, yeah.
Yeah, Tyler.
Okay. Well, I just thought that was kind of interesting. But anyway, never mind. I didn't know what I was talking about again.
It sounded good.
I make a motion we adopt ordinance number 1910.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Brett, seconded by Lyle H. Roll call.
Brett, aye.
Lyle H. aye.
Jeff, I.
Diana, aye.
Lyle Vance, aye.
Thank you. Discussion and consideration of adopting resolution 1941, amending section 15, reimbursable expenses, in section 6, employee code of conduct for Tremonton City personnel policies and procedures manual regarding city-owned vehicle policy.
And this has that we discussed about them, the allowance and all that in there.
Yep.
right?
It doesn't say that, it just administratively, that's how we handle
Okay.
it if you approve of in 6 years.
Questions, council?
I move we adopt resolution number 19-41.
Motion made by Diana,
I'll second it.
seconded by Brett. Roll call again.
Brett, aye.
Lyle H. aye.
Jeff, I.
Diana, aye.
Lyle Vance, aye.
Thank you. Calendar items. Sean, any particular calendar items?
You know, other than what you see on the screen being the Summer City Party, which is tomorrow, I'm not aware of any. I think Utah League of Cities and Towns is coming up. So be aware of that if you signed up. If you have questions, I think Lindsay only signed up those who expressed interest.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions on our assignments, past assignments that we've had? City manager, Sean, anything?
You know, I was gonna, and we talked about it tonight, T&M. I think you've actually seen this site plan previously, but I did just, as it relates to the DRC discussion, maybe I'm jumping ahead in the agenda, but I did show, maybe do you mind just pulling that up? It sounds like, it looks like that's what you're doing. So I was just gonna show you this, but again, I think you might have seen this already. This is the proposed T&M office park. It's just the plan view of their office building. I haven't seen any elevations yet, but.
Well, that doesn't look bad.
No.
So, the lay down yard is.
In the back?
To the side,
Okay.
visible.
Oh, okay.
West side.
So that's all I had. I think that was the only thing we talked about at the DRC meeting.
Oh, DRC meeting in the morning, isn't it? Who's coming tomorrow?
She sent us
Council?
all a thing.
Huh?
She
Who's
sent us
coming?
a schedule. Sure not me.
Is it supposed to be me? I
I
didn't
don't know
look.
what Cynthia, I'm not sure.
I can look and see.
It's,
Cynthia's the one who sent it out, so I'm not positive who remembers.
I have no
I
idea.
haven't ever seen it.
I will
Because I
look
don't
right
know.
here.
Did we have an assignment here?
Tomorrow is Brett Rohde,
Okay, what time?
and then Lyle Vance and Diana and me.
Have you
I'll
had your
be there.
chance? Home Ridge never had a chance either. So at some point in time, we don't want to feel,
I'll
Lyle to
just
feel left
schedule now,
out.
so pull up the schedule.
He's on October 9th.
Lyle's on October 9th?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's on the schedule.
Okay. Council reports.
I don't have anything.
Council report.
Did you say no?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm good. I was gonna say how well our little Paul did at that meeting. He did really good, and it took a lot of guts to stand in front of all those people, and I thought he did a really fine job.
Took a little bit of a whooping, didn't you, Paul? Took a little bit of a whooping, didn't you?
Now, I was gonna remind you of that harassment training we had with that common little ball.
Oh, I'd rather go that direction.
I have nothing. It was a good meeting. It was worthwhile. People became informed, and we will continue to inform the public on we'll continue to inform the people what they need
this
to
gentleman
know.
said, we owe him some stuff.
We'll try to keep people so they know what in the heck they're doing.
Mayor?
And whatever we do, somebody will not read it. And it's not like this.
Mayor? I'd like to make a comment on that.
Yes, please make a comment.
A takeaway I got from that meeting is there's a lot of very knowledgeable people in our community so I think we ought to think in the future when we start moving in this direction, maybe putting together some committees and inviting some of the public to come in and give some input on, different rate structures, those kind of things. I thought it was pretty cool, some of the stuff they come up with, and I thought some of that knowledge could be helpful. So, that's all.
Sounds
Thank you,
good.
Rick. Got everything taken care
Oh,
of.
you didn't ask Vance, did you?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
He always says something.
we need a little closed session time. Quickie.
I move we go into closed session.
Thanks for coming, you guys.
We adjourn first.
Where are you going?
Closed session.
I move we adjourn first, right? Do we have to adjourn?
No, we're done.
We have a meeting, we're done.
I second it.
All right.
Where you going, Brad?
I drank too much.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he did.
Yes, I didn't understand the last or something.
You know him
said
a
it
number
faster,
of a
didn't
good
I?
builder though. I mean, I know we can't. Probably, say these are something on that line.
And then,
You can't talk to the distributor guy in to do it. Go stock your storage. You can't do that.